Alright, YouTube, so I want to go ahead and talk about Colin Kaepernick, but before I do that, there's a clip in the description below. It's from ESPN. They're talking about the Colin Kaepernick deal with Nike and the reaction from it. And one of the anchors on there, the same guy that was, complaining about Trump the other day, he's out there and he's saying that, a lot of Trump supporters are essentially these older white men that haven't really done much with their life except be older white men, and that's the only reason why they've been successful. It's like a very ignorant statement, and I'm thinking, like, well, maybe he was referring to the CEOs, and it's like, even if that's the case, it's still very stupid, it's a racially charged comment, and that's just kind of, my takeaway from it. But there was a comment down there, that was left by an account named Stephen A. Smith. I'm pretty sure it wasn't him, but it was just a parody account, I guess. But the message itself was very meaningful. He said, hey, instead of going for this, burning Nike campaign, why don't you donate your Nike merchandise to the homeless and to the veterans? And I thought, well, that's a very good point. Why not do that? And, I'm not saying, like, oh, shame on those who have been burning their equipment, but or Nike merchandise, but it's something to think about. It's like, well, we get caught up in our pride when it comes to politics, and we want to make a very meaningful statement. But I would think that doing something like that is even more meaningful. It's kind of a win-win. You get rid of the Nike gear, which you want nothing to do with, and you give it to someone who actually needs it. I mean, that'd be a very kind thing to do, in my opinion. But anyways, going back to Colin Kaepernick, because he has found a way to basically play the victim and be successful at it, and now he's one of the pitchmen for Nike, which is, hey, it is what it is. My thought is like, what is this going to do in terms of the Nike stock, the Nike sales, et cetera, and their popularity in general? I don't really think it's going to help them much. I mean, I think that they're trying to appeal to a very smaller audience. I think that's probably what they're going for. So, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of celebrities that are going to be wearing Nike merchandise because it was endorsed or introduced or pitched or whatever by Colin Kaepernick. I don't know if that's the case, because I really don't see like the average person saying like, oh, Colin Kaepernick, oh, gee, I really want to get shoes, that have his name on it, because I just don't think he's a very popular figure, And it's really ridiculous. I hear like a lot of people comparing him to Muhammad Ali, and it's like, yeah, it's not a very good comparison. I mean, hey, it's opinion, but I just happen to disagree with that comparison. Yeah. And it just also gets me thinking too. It's like, well, I don't even know if Nike cares if they lose money here, because for them it's probably about the message rather. They're still probably going to have a customer base of like celebrities and like these very like these trust fund babies, social justice warriors, those types. They're going to like brandish Colin Kaepernick Nike gear, and they're going to think that's like an accomplishment in its own, obviously it's just all bullshit, but people are going to buy into that bullshit, but it's going to be a very small market, because I think more and more people are waking up to realizing, this whole social justice warrior thing, it's like social justice in general is actually very good, but the way they've weaponized it, and actually the way they've kind of hijacked the term, it doesn't really apply to what they're doing. It's actually quite the opposite. It's social injustice. But anyways, sorry, I'm getting a little off track here, but I think the thing that really kind of strikes my curiosity is like, I don't really even think that, like, does Nike care if they lose money here? Maybe it's just about the political message, honestly. And what if it's like that's the whole case with all of these industries across the United States, like with CNN? So they don't really care about the ratings. It's essentially there to act as propaganda. They're not really there to inform people. They're there to brainwash people. They don't really care about the ratings because they say, well, we can brainwash a very small percentage of the country, and then they're basically going to parrot our lies, and it's going to spread. It's the Goebbels technique, I guess. Goebbels. Yeah. And, it's just a really stupid thing that anchor said, though, because, like, what's the deal? Like, why are people beating up on white men now? Like, they didn't do shit. And this thing with, like, white privilege, I would go ahead and maybe step into the realm of taboo here and say that I think that there's such thing as Jewish privilege. Absolutely, Jewish privilege. I think that it's kind of like, it's hard for me to say because it's like something that could probably get me deplatformed, but I do think that there's something there, A lot of the Jews in this country and around the world have been very successful because they've just been Jewish. I mean, in a way, what the ESPN anchor said was projection. He's like, oh, all these white men running around, doing nothing and being successful. It's like, you could probably say the same thing about the Ashkenazi Jews, and they're not even real Jews. They're from the Caucasus. They're Eastern Europeans. The Khazars. And they essentially adopted Judaism as their state religion, and they're somehow, holy people, I guess, or the chosen people. And it's like, I'm Sephardic Jew, and I couldn't give a shit, I'm not going to use that to my advantage, It's kind of funny, like, I bash on Jews sometimes, and it's like, oh, you're a self-hating Jew. I don't know. All right, guys, that was a pretty good take. I'm going to end it on that. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff that happened today. Alex Jones confronting Marco Rubio. That's kind of weird. It didn't really accomplish much either, but I'm going to go ahead and cover that next. So, God bless, guys. Thanks for watching.